I looked at the record, and it was back in June. So it's about 4 months, not exactly 4 months, but 12 months since the last time I shared. Of course, in the middle, there was and then after that, Master took a little bit of recovering so that we could finally be able to hear the sutra. And then after a couple of times, I finally got a chance with the time to do the sharing. So I'm very happy to be able to do this once again and to see all of you online. Now, I think before I go on, today we're going to talk about the potential and the power of one, and what does that mean? Before I go on to today's topic, I wanted to cover, I wanted to shout out to our translation efforts. Thanks to Sister Tzu Chi, that we are now having a strong team, a very strong team of volunteers that are doing the real-time translation. The translation, or in another word, I think a better word to be used is interpretation of Master's Dharma talk in the morning, talking about the Lotus Sutra. And this team has grown since the very first time we spoke, the very first time we attempted this translation effort. And this team has now grown that I think each day, and there were different, I think now we're using the Google shared, the Google document and the Google Sheet for the translation effort. So more people can be doing the translation at the same time. And there are people training, and there are people that are doing the actual translation. There are always people doing the training. So, and I wanted to just mention how important this effort is. And I just want to mention how important this particular intent, the intention, and the effort. But that's not what I want to talk about. What I want to talk about is, for those of you that were involved at the very beginning, there were probably only a few people. And that involves training, that involves testing, involves making progress, every day, every week. We started once a week, actually 2 days out of the whole week, doing the online real-time simultaneous translation of Master's Dharma talk. And I remember at first when we were doing it, it was indeed, it wasn't easy because we weren't professional translators. And there were a lot of time when there were a lot of difficulties that had to be overcame. But we did that. The reason why I wanted to bring this out is, let's look at page 5. Suppose everyone on the team, whoever that were involved on the team at the time, whether it was from Hualien or it was from Malaysia, anyone that were on the team eventually became master translators, like very super, like has super translation skills. Suppose everyone on the team became master translators. Suppose everyone who were involved on that team, because they were involved on that team, they became so good with translating Master's Dharma that they all became, like number one. Like whenever Master talks, these are the people that you would ask for to do her translation. Even better, whenever there's any Tzu Chi events, these became the translators they always go to. These become part of the very elite group of translators. Suppose that were what happened. And I'm sure it's probably what, that's happening too. Everyone on the team so associated with translating Dharma that really became master translator. Suppose everyone on the team became translator. And now the next statement is going to be something that we are very familiar with. The merit and blessing of such is still way less than ... This is what we have been hearing, all the time these past few days, or in fact, the last two chapters of the Lotus Sutra. Okay, the one that we are in right now, chapter 18 and chapter 17, the distinct benefits and the blessings. So these two chapters are doing a lot of comparison between the merit and the blessings of one thing compared to the merit and the blessings of the other. So I am just pointing out that Following the same trend, let us compare the merit of having all the people on the translation team, because of the effort, becoming master translators. Comparing that, the merit that, comparing that to being able to help each one or just one of you to see how important this effort is. Which one of these merits, which one of these efforts has more merit and blessing? And that's what this chapter is about. That's what this chapter is trying to let us see how important one is, how important that potential is. It's not so much the people doing them. It's not so much the people that are doing this effort is. The most important thing is how that one can now begets many, can now creates 2, 3, 4, 10, 100, infinite. That's what this chapter is about. And that's what this chapter and the previous chapter is trying to say. So these are from the text, from this chapter. So it talks about the benefits. Okay, so it's talking about, remember what I said, right? In these few chapters, it has been talking about comparing between the merits of one thing versus the other. So in the chapter, it specifically says the benefits that he gains, or the merits that he gains, do not match the benefits or the merits of the 50th person who hears just one verse of the Lotus Sutra and responded with joy. So this is the part that's the same as saying the benefits that the master translator gains from translating all those texts do not match the benefits of the 50th person who saw and read just one verse of the translated Lotus Sutra, and because of that, responded with joy. So the point isn't how much you have done. The point isn't that it was the Hualien team or it was the Malaysia team that started this translation effort. The point is how many people that were able to reach out and influence and affected them so that they were happy and they were responding with joy that that's what they wanted to do. That's what they were looking forward to do. So I can tell you, and the answer goes below, they are not equal to 100, 1,000, one part in 100,000, 10,000, a million. Indeed, it is beyond the power of calculation, simile, or parable to express the comparison. What that means is, suppose, and this could be, argued to be otherwise. Suppose I was the one that started this translation effort. Suppose, years ago, and we come up with this idea, talking to Sister Xiaoqing, that it wasn't just doing the review that's important, but we want to get everybody involved to be part of the Dharma talk, not just to be able to listen to the 30 minutes overview of what happened in the past week, but rather something that they are part of. So somebody said, hey, why don't we try to do this real-time translation? And then they could part of, even if they do not understand Taiwanese, they could hear and they could see, they could hear masters talking in Taiwanese, and then we would somehow have the English subtitles. So that was part of the dream, right? Suppose we did all of that, and we have done that since day number one. And because of that, we have translated, hundreds of days of worth of Master's Dharma talk. The merits of translating hundreds of days of the Dharma talk is indeed something great. Something that I feel, if that were to be accomplished, if I indeed did that, I would be very proud of myself. There will be some accomplishment associated with that. But what this chapter is telling us, that yes, even though what you as one person or you as one team of many people that have accomplished is considered great already, it is incomparable. You cannot compare it to if you are able to inspire even just one person with what you've done. One person that was inspired could have only be because only one sentence of what you have done. So you have done hundreds and hundreds of hours of Master's talks translation. But if one person so much as hearing one phrase and one verse from what you have translated and was inspired to do more, then the merit of all the things you have translated is incomparable to even that one person feeling inspired. That's what this is trying to say. Continue on. Today's Dharma talk, it was talking about Asita and the king. Back into chapter 12, the king was looking for Dharma, looking for the truth in the world. And all that the truth in the world, he didn't understand. So he let out a notice. Anyone who is able to teach me the truth, the Dharma, I will be willing to give everything. And therefore Asita, the seer, Asita came and said, I will tell you the teachings of Lotus Sutra, the Wondrous Lotus Sutra. And the king hearing this says, I will follow you. So all the things that the king did to learn, including becoming the couch, becoming the chair, becoming the bed, becoming the servant of Asita, all the things that he did is incomparable to if there was one teaching coming from Asita, teaching the king of seeing the real truth and the Dharma. Even though there was no exact teaching, but that was enough to start. Imagine all the things that the king did to become a couch. Did that consider to be a lot of effort? You bet. All the things that the king did to give up, was that considered to be many, many, many important effort? You bet. But just because of the inspiration the king got from whether it was Asita or the name of the Lotus Wondrous Sutra, he was inspired. And because of that inspiration, from even not one verse, it was just one sentence, it was one word, one phrase that from Asita that says, I will teach you the Wondrous Lotus Sutra. And the king believed it. Just one verse. It wasn't anything else that Asita taught him. All the effort done by the king is incomparable to that inspiration from that one single sentence that Asita says, I will teach you the great Dharma of the Wondrous Lotus Sutra. And the king believed. And that inspiration eventually occurred and became enlightenment. And the king eventually became the Buddha. And the Buddha eventually spread the Dharma. And now we're able to see and listen and understand and learn the teachings of the Lotus Sutra. Can you imagine all the effort that were done by the king? Yes, becoming the couch, becoming the servant, sacrifice all of that compared to when the king was enlightened and inspired and enlightened and eventually be able to reach out to millions and millions. And even after 2,500 years later, we are still talking about and learning the Lotus Sutra. That's what the comparison is all about. So if we're talking about Master and I, imagine what Master did as a person when she was doing her charity work. She went around Taiwan trying to help the individual families. All the work that she had done was considered to be wonderful and great. In fact, something that was probably cannot be surpassed. Something that was amazing in that probably never happened before and will be very, very difficult and unlikely to happen after. That's her accomplishment. That's Master Cheng Yen's accomplishment. Building the hospitals, starting the charity foundation, building the hospital, and building the schools and the Dai TV, and trying to spread the Dharma to all parts of the world, transcending boundaries, transcending religion. That's Master's merit and blessing. But compare that to if there were even just one person, and that one person, that one verse from what Master said, out of all the thousands and infinite amount of words and wisdom that Master had already said in the past 50 years. If there was one verse and that one person really got inspired from that, compare all the things that Master had accomplished versus that one inspiration from one sentence, compare that to the sutra is telling us that the inspiration of that one person is so much greater than all the work that Master had done and all the merit and blessings that she herself have accomplished. That's what the sutra is saying. And I believe it. Because if today you can be inspired, just like the translation, I can become the master translator. I can translate thousands and thousands and thousands of master's text. But if that were to be compared to Sister Xiaojing, for example, her efforts in bringing up this team and putting the team together and getting more people involved, which one is more merit? It's not just me becoming the master translator. It's not even me having the team and everyone become the master translator. It's not the amount of sutra that I have translated. It's the one single individual inspiration that we have started in your heart, in your mind, in your life. That is way more important than all the work that I myself have done. Same thing. Look at Dharma Master In Shun. Yes, he had wrote a lot of books. He had did a lot of preaching and teaching of Dharma. I will be honest to tell you that I probably didn't read. Well, I'll tell you that I didn't read very, very much of it. But all that he did was to spoke one line that will echo for all the time that we will remember. What he said to Master was, 为佛教为众生. And that was it. That inspired that one person. And the merit of inspiring that one person far outweighs he himself as an individual, his own accomplishment. And now I'm following the same trend and telling you all the work that Master had done, all the blessings, while they're all very important and they're all very amazing. And I will not take any credit away or any merit away from all the things that our Master, our beloved Master had done. I have no intention of doing that. And that's not what I meant. But combining all of that together and inspiring just one person with her words. Can you imagine the same inspiration reaching out to all parts of the world? How much greater, much more important that is. And that's what this chapter is trying to say. It's not demeaning to say what the Master had accomplished. It's not to say Master Cheng Yen's accomplishment is very little. It doesn't say that. It means to tell us that it's so much more important, that in order for the legacy, in order for the teaching and the Dharma to go on, we ourselves as disciples need to be inspired. And that is far more important than anything that the teacher can put together in their accomplishment and achievements. Because all of that is just trying to get us to understand and learn the Dharma so that we can pass on the same compassion, the same Dharma that Master had. So even after 50th generation, we would still be able to say, yes, my intention and my learning is the same as the first person that ever learned from Master, and it's the same as the Master themselves. That is way more important than all the physical, concrete accomplishment and achievement that Master had. Such is the potential and the power of one. And that is the whole point of the Sutra of the Infinite Meanings. It's all starting with one. And that is very important. You can build all the schools and all the accomplishment. You can build a country, a nation, a world. But if you have no one person to be able to pass on this ideal, all the buildings will decay, but this ideal and this teaching and this Dharma will be lost. It's not gone because it's still there. It's neither coming nor going. The Dharma has always been there. But no one will be able to preach it, to share with it, to be able to say what it is. So in the future, it will be lost and undiscovered. And so this is what I want to say, is that, yes, direct influence on the left is very important. Master's accomplishment, indeed, was great in that it was able to reach out to all parts of the world. That's very important. Building schools, housings for all these people. But the more important thing is the indirect influence. Because of building the schools, because of relieving the suffering and pain, she attempted to purify, to bring the Dharma to our lives. That is the more indirect influence. That is the more result, the blessings that the chapter is talking about. It's not to say the direct influence, the schools and the hospitals that were built are not important. It's not what this chapter is saying. It's just telling you that it is more important, that if one person can be inspired, if Dharma Master In Sun can inspire Dharma Master Cheng Yen from that one sentence, imagine all the things that this inspired individual can accomplish in the future. Far, far, far greater than each one person can do. And that's what the Sutra of Infinite Meaning is trying to say. So this is the main purpose. It's the only purpose. It's the one purpose of what? Of passing this Dharma on, to teach the real teaching, to teach the true teaching so that everyone can keep on passing on. That is why today we're going to have Brother Asif sharing with us in South Africa, right? If he is inspired and if he can inspire more people, the people that he inspires, the merit of inspiring more people far more outweighs all the things that he himself or I as an individual can do as a person. Because one person can only do so much. But if that person can inspire more people, then more things can be done. This is the idea. To cultivate the most fulfilling seeds for the future. That the seed, each one of the seed is not just to be able to grow, but to be able to pack so much into it, that seed. So when the time comes for the seed to grow and sprout, the seed is ready. The seed is filled with Dharma, with nutrients, with all the things so that it can grow and grow and grow and creates more life. So now I'm going to go into some of the answerings because I think that sets the tone. And I wanted to follow with that tone to answer the questions that were posed for today. And I hope I have enough time to go through most of these. The first question here is, when there are too many fields of blessing appearing, should one seize the moment, pick it all up, or due to limited ability, whether it's time constraint or whatever resource, let it or some to pass? How do we choose the field of blessing? And this goes back to, what are we trying to accomplish? What are we trying to accomplish? The directed approach, this particular blessing, what are we trying to do? Are we helping someone? From helping someone, are we helping them? Right here in the directed approach, are they getting fed? Are they getting warm, getting clothed? And then one step beyond that, are we able to seize the moment so that they are getting more than just the blanket and the rice? Are they actually getting the Dharma? So how do you choose the field of blessing? Well, it depends on how you want to spread the direct and the indirect approach to influence, to spread the Dharma. There is no right answer. You can pick one or two or three or none. But all we need to do is make sure that we always seize the moment. Whether we do one or we do all, remember, it's not just the things that we're doing. It's not just the rights that we're giving. It's the idea that if that person can be inspired, then the merits of all of the rights put together far out less weight. It's far less than if we're able to inspire just one person. Can you imagine, of all the rice, of all the food, and of all the things that we have done for Africa, the physical things it's far less than if we're able to inspire an individual such as Brother Asif to be able to say, yes, this is my calling and I need to do this because I understand Master's teaching. Which one is more important? And that's what the sutra is trying to tell us. So next question. Understanding the Buddha share the same path. And so back into the first chapter, there were the 20,000 sun, moonlight, radiant Buddha. The last one has 8 suns with the name of intention in each name. How is that similar to Sakyamuni Buddha, who has 1 sun only? Okay, so let me respond to this first. The idea of the 8 suns wasn't exactly, it's not supposed to be like, oh, so all the Buddha, because they're all the same, therefore they all have to have 8 suns. It doesn't mean that. What it meant to say was that during the 20,000, the last one of the 20,000 sun, moonlight, radiant Buddha. He had 8 sons. And what that was trying to say was the father or the last of the sun, moonlight, radiant Buddha. That Buddha represents our heart, our mind, our original Buddha nature. And but we all have that Buddha nature. However, we also have the consciousness, the 8 consciousness that are part of us. So even though we have the Buddha nature in us, just like the 20,000th Buddha, but there are 8 sons out there. We have the Buddha nature, but our consciousness out there are still not enlightened, and it's constantly being in touch with all the negative things all around us. And so what we had to do is, even though we have the Buddha nature, the 8 sons out there have not yet been enlightened. So our consciousness continue to take in all the pollutants, and we are keep on getting polluted, and therefore our Buddha nature is covered up with all the afflictions. And therefore, what that was trying to say is, we have to, across a long time, being able to cultivate. So eventually the 8 sons will become the Buddha, will be enlightened. And so it's similar to Shakyamuni Buddha, who has a son whose name is Rahula, and also has, in fact, has been a troublemaker in the past. And look at how throughout ages, and also in chapter 9, when he was also destined for future prediction for Buddhahood, he also made a vow that he wants to come back. And that was the whole point. That was the comparison, in that all the Buddha, including Shakyamuni Buddha and the past Buddha, they're all trying to spread this teaching. And the idea is the same, in that we have the Buddha nature in us, and it's up to ourselves to transform the consciousness into the Buddha nature. And that's the connection. Okay, so next question. I'll be really quick. It's already over time. When we start to distinguish between good and evil, judgmental views can surface. How can we cultivate ourselves without being judgmental? Once again, imagine what you're trying to do. It's not just how fast I can do this. It's not just how much rice I can give and how many blankets I can produce. It's about how we can try to put in that seed that is as filling as possible, so that this seed, when the water and the soil and the conditions are favorable, that we are able to have that grown into a very full-grown tree. How to attract teenagers to walk on this path and listen to Dharma? Very good question. The easy answer is that if you want to talk to teenagers about cultivation, to talk about affliction, to talk about all these things, they are probably not likely and not likely to be wanting to be attracted. The most important the thing that I found to be engaging and something that works, is to find out what is troubling them, what they want to do in their lives, and what's stopping them from accomplishing and from realizing their true potential. And from there, using Dharma to help them solve their problems. That would be the only thing. Telling them about afflictions, they just haven't had enough life experiences to really understand what afflictions and problems with life is. So let me skip this question, and okay, this is the one that I want to answer. It's the last question that I want to answer. Oh, actually, no, the other one will be last. Okay, so very quickly, conditions to be reborn as human being. Okay, must have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can please advise if this is the ticket to human realm next life? And my answer is yes. This is the ticket to the next life, where you will become the human realm. Yes, but at the same time, oh, I wish I can show you. No, I don't. Okay, at the same time, I also want to share with you, I have the ticket to the train that will depart for Hualien at 2:00 p.m. today. I have the ticket. Does that mean I'll get on to that train? I don't know. Does that mean when I get on the train will get to Hualien on time? I don't know. Does that mean that when I get on the train and it departs on time, I will really get to Hualien on that train? I don't know. Yes, it's the ticket to the human realm next life. Does that mean you're going to get on the train? I don't know. Things could happen in the very next moment. Maybe typhoon comes, maybe derailment, something. The train doesn't run. Or maybe I got on and I stepped through it and I didn't get off. You having the ticket is just one of many factors of that being happening. It doesn't mean, and it doesn't guarantee it's going to happen, because many things are going to happen. Many factors and conditions around you are going to affect whether it really happens or not. So yes, I'm going to tell you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are all going to generate the ticket for you. But if you hold the ticket and you don't do it, you don't get on the train, or you get on the train, you forget to get off, or the train derail, or the train something happened, you're still not gonna become the human next life. So me telling you this doesn't guarantee that if you do all 5, you're gonna become next life, become a human being. But that is the first step that we have to do: getting a ticket, making sure that you get on, making sure that you don't slip through it and then you forgot to get off, and making sure that once you get there, you get off and then you do what's right. So I'll see if I'm getting way out of time, but okay, it's talking about the 4 thoughts, and maybe I'll save this for next week. It's very interesting, but all this is about emptiness. It's about the 3 三轮体空, the 3 wheels where it's all emptiness. This is what it's talking about. Do not think about that you have done something, but do not just think about that you have done nothing, because you have indeed done something, and then doing done something, nothing, haven't done anything. That's what it's trying to. Gonna get through that next week. This is the I don't want to get today. The Buddha told Maitreya, I will tell you now plainly the merit and virtue obtained by this person, blah, 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 okay, who further causes them to obtain the fruit of our hardship, does not equal the merit of the 50th person who hears but a single verse. So this is what the segment that I talked about. Once again, it says complete help to clarify the part as my limited understanding is arhatship is at bodhisattva stage. Some claim highest level of is already eliminated affliction. I have absolute agreement with what you're saying. Yes, this is the same as saying that the merit of all the things that Master Cheng had done in comparison to being another person being able to be inspired from what Master Cheng has done. This is the same as saying that the merits and blessings and the virtues of Dharma Master In Shun compared to if one sentence and one verse can inspire another person to do all the greatness. It doesn't mean that what they have done is not important. What this chapter is trying to say is it's very important to have that very important seed in everybody's mind so that they can do more, because all of the people putting together combined, it's way much more. Like you and Brother Asif and everybody, you're in Malaysia, in all the different parts of the world, are so much greater than what Master was able to accomplish here in Taiwan. That's what this is trying to say. It does not demean what Master had accomplished, but the more important thing is that she had inspired all of us so that we are willing to take it upon ourselves to do more and reach out to more people. So next time you are doing something, you also remember, we're doing this because we want to inspire more. Because all the things that I do will be incomparable to if I were able to inspire one person to do and take on the things that we believe in. That's what this chapter is talking about. Thank you, and I'm so much that I'm always out of time, but imagine after 4 months of away, I come back, talking more than ever. Thank you.
Cảm ơn Brother Joe. I think words can never express the deepest gratefulness at heart to Brother Joe for starting this session and for starting the live caption. Okay, let us welcome Brother Asif. It's very early at his place. I think maybe either midnight or early in the morning. Very grateful to Brother Asif. Okay, over to you, Brother Asif from Durban. Okay.
What I'm going to share about today is what inspired me to join Tzu Chi. The reason why that I joined Tzu Chi, first of all, I joined Tzu Chi last year. I wanted to get a bursary, but then when I got there, everything was so serious in such a way that when we visited places, visiting people who are sick, then I started to feel the need. I started to have the will to help our master in order to obtain or to maintain her willingness of the nation. I'm so inspired by the teachings that I get from our master, the things that uh, she's always sharing about, and also the stories that I get from the gogos or the grandmothers that you are working with here in South Africa. I'm so inspired by them and all the things that we do together in order to fulfill our master's goals. We go to places, rural areas where there are no resources, people are suffering. We visit people are suffering, but then we have our master's teachings. We can reach all the dark corners in Africa and change other people's lives. And change other people's lives. The next question was, what are the Tzu Chi activities that you do in South Africa? The first one, you do the home visits. The home visits, it is whereby when we have a monthly meeting, we people ask for, people book for a day. Then we visit those people. After visiting those people, we share them the master's teachings, the Dharma lineage. We share the Dharma lineage to the people. Then after that, we visit the people from different communities or in that community and give them a blessing card and provide them with rice. And one thing that I can tell you with the rice that you hand over to the person, there are a lot of people here in our country believe that Tzu Chi rice is not the same as other rices because the water that they drain from that rice, they believe that it helps them. It is healthy, if I may put it that way. And the second activity that we also have here in South Africa is soup kitchens. In fact, the home visits are only happening on Wednesdays only. And the soup kitchens happen every day. It's an everyday activity. Our gogos go different places and like orphanages, and they cook for those orphans. They provide food for those orphans, and they share the Dharma lineage to those orphans, and they bring hope by doing so to those people who are hopeless, and they go to the places where there are disabled people, and they share the Dharma lineage to those people. They cook for these people. They put master's teachings into action by changing people's life. And they also visit educators. Like educate is more like at school it's more like a primary school, but then it is one of these little kids. They go these places and they cook for these kids. They also go for old age homes. And we know that like rich people tend to take their old parents and put them into old age home, and they feel so neglected. But then we as Tzu Chi volunteers here in South Africa, we make sure that we visit those people. We visit those people, but then we share them stories from our masters. We show them videos. We show them love. We massage them. We make them feel loved. We cook for them. We do all the things for them. And the third thing, the third activity that we do here in South Africa is winter distribution. This is a winter distribution. In this activity, we visit the community. What we hand to the people are the blankets, rice, and we also hand the blessing card. What you are actually doing, we are not actually giving the rice. What we are trying to give, we are not actually handing over the blessing cards. What are we handing over exactly? It is the master's teaching, the Dharma lineage that we got from our master. We don't just give those people these objects, but then we share the stories from our masters. We share the stories from our grandmothers. Our grandmothers are aging now, but then we as youth here in South Africa, we are making sure that we maintain the goals. We maintain the goals of our master. And Brother Joe just said here that Master got teachings from Master Jing, but now she's still spreading the same teaching. She's still spreading the same teaching in the same way, even though that her master, her mentor is not still there. But she's still doing the same thing. She's still spreading the same love. And we are here in South Africa. We may be, you may be different in skin color. We may be different in skin color too, but then we are all connected in one thing. We are all connected connected in the cycle of love. We are all connected in the cycle of love. We may there's consanguinity. There's that thing, there's that connection. It means that we are one nation. We are all falling under Buddha tree. And therefore, we do have touching stories here in South Africa, if I may put it so. And like when we're visiting those places, they know that something is going to change their lives. When they are seeing Tzu Chi cards, they know that something is going to happen, something good is going to happen. It's like they are seeing good news because now these cars are well known here in South Africa with this logo, with this Tzu Chi logo. They know that whenever they are seeing a Tzu Chi car, something good is going to happen. Good news are going to be told. Everything is going to be fine. And now visiting places, people used to share their stories, don't have places to stay, they are poor. South Africa is the most. In fact, at first, I never knew that we got people who are suffering in South Africa in this way. But then, since I joined in the northern Africa, we also suffering in the youth. They are so involved in drugs. They are so involved in drugs and the teenage pregnancy. Those are the things. Because it's not because when you get old, these people are not studying, they are not doing anything, and our parents are not working too, which is the very bad thing for us. And the challenges that we face in Africa, like if I may say, during May, we usually have Buddha bathing ceremony. The most challenge that we have during that time of the year, when we're visiting the communities, there's that transparent crystal that has a Buddha inside. When we're visiting communities and we bring that crystal and the plate with water inside and a little bit of a flower or something. Now, when you bring that to the community, people think that we are going to change their religion or something. We are bringing them a new religion. They do not understand. Some other people do not understand because when you're visiting the community, it's not like we're visiting people who are already enlightened about Tzu Chi work and all the master's teachings and all. It's just people that we are meeting for the first time, people that it's our first acquaintance to meet. They refuse. Some other people even refuse to touch the crystal because, like, we tell them that they must put their water on, they must put their hands on the water, then and touch the crystal, which is the what? Yeah, if I still remember. Now, the last question was, how do the master's teachings inspire us as a whole in Africa? We make sure that we always have a monthly meeting. It is always held on the 27th of end of the month, and the student meeting. It is always held on the second Saturday, first of the month. It is where we come together. It is where we come together and rejuvenate and start and redo, review, reflect on ourselves and do master's teachings. Then we take all these master's teachings and we try by putting them into action. And we don't do master teachings only when we are together. Also, when you go back to our communities, we do inspire people. Even if we're not joining Tzu Chi activities, we do inspire people in our communities to make sure that their life changes, their everything changes. We make sure that during the meetings, we take down the notes, we write down the notes. As Brother Joe just said, that the translation that is made by, I'm specializing in translation in South Africa. I'm translating from, like, if Sister Chi is sharing in English, I translate into Zulu so that people can understand. The sharing that I made for the people, Brother Joe just said that the share is not about the sharing that I'm making, it's about the message that I'm sending across to the people, or the content of the message, or what is going to be understood by those people I'm sending the message to. It is very important. And he also emphasized that you must break, as if like one of the translators, you must make sure that you do the exact what you're supposed to be doing. And we try by all means to inspire a lot of people in Africa. We've went to the 9th country now, which is Malawi. People are very poor. They are very poor. If I may compare Malawi with, I mean, South Africa. South Africa is, I wouldn't say it's more better than them, but then the stories, they are so touching. Our brothers and sisters who have just went there, they are sharing different stories with those people. And they were still going to spread the Dharma lineage across Africa, even ahead of Africa, overseas. We're still going to go places and changing other people's lives. We're still going to spread the Dharma lineage. We're still going to spread the seed of life across the country, across the nation, because this is a tree and it's growing from time to time. And right now it is 1:54 a.m. in the morning. I've never slept, but then it is all because I got this thing in my heart. It is inside of me. It is planted inside of me. I couldn't sleep. I didn't complain and say, no, I want to sleep, sister. I want to sleep. I won't do this, because it's the morning already on your side. It's a daylight, but now it's the night time here. But I'm not complaining, because I know what I'm doing. It is not just going to benefit me. It is not just going to benefit my family, but then it is going to benefit everyone. It is going to benefit the people in my community, the people across the country. The sharing that I'm sharing right now, it is also going to benefit other people. By so saying, I thank you so much, brothers and sisters. This is Asiva Machata in South Africa. I'm really sorry. This is my first sharing. I promise you that next time it is going to be as perfect as I think this is it. Thank you so much, sister. I don't know how to stop.
Okay. Thank you, Brother Asif. It's almost 2:00 there, and but your energy definitely didn't make us think that it was just very wee hour of the morning, and that tells us that Dharma sharing is something that will give us life, and this life isn't just something that give us energy, but it's giving us hope. And because of this energy and life, that we are able to give more life to other people. So even though it's for here, it's already almost 8:00, but I feel like, sometimes 8:00 signifies that we're about to start working. It's our working hour. And so a lot of people dread 8:00. Before 8:00, we're still happily listening to Dharma. We're eating breakfast. We're doing a little bit housekeeping and stuff. But once your 8:00 hits, it feels like, oh, geez, it's another day of work. But, I think that's what Dharma gets us, is that, you could be at work. You could be you could be driving, you could be doing anything, but Dharma will make that life special, will give us that energy. And so that's what you have given us, whether it's 2:00 or 8:00, whether it's in Africa or Malaysia or Taiwan, what you have given us is the proof that Dharma transcends and Dharma can give us that energy. So thank you so much, Asif. And I look forward to hearing more of your sharings. And it doesn't feel like this is your first time sharing. I think you definitely did a lot of all these very touching stories, including the things that you have done with yourself. And I want to share with one thing with all of you, in that so in the Lotus Sutra, it talks about, and Master talks about, having a very deep faith, 身心信解, having a deep faith to believe. And sometimes people will be like, yes, I have deep faith and I want to believe, but what do I believe in? What am I believing? Okay, so some people will say, yes, we're believing Master. We believe in Master. But Master is one person. We don't just believe in one person. It has to be an idea. It has to be a concept. What are we believing in? It's believing in Master's teaching. And Master's teaching from very beginning until now. From the very beginning, up until now, and including the future, continuing, is the teaching of the Lotus Sutra, in that just have to keep on working at it. There is no end in sight. And that is not what we're looking for either. We're not looking for an end. We're looking for every day, continuing to do the things that we're supposed to do, to relieve the suffering, to cultivate ourselves. Sometimes we might be doing this and we might be, put back and not so happy because of other people, because of our relatives, our family, people around us. Sometimes it's the other volunteers that's making us not so happy. And seeing the way it is in Africa, it's actually very happy every day, which is good. But a lot of times in different places, we get into our own afflictions. But Master teaches us, yes, we might not understand the teachings. We might not have the wisdom to understand all these very interesting stories in the sutra. But if we keep on working at it, we will eventually get it. There will be one verse and one sentence and one phrase out there that will inspire us. And that is way more important than just keep on doing it. However, before that one verse and one phrase and one sentence was able to inspire us and transcend us into the next level of cultivation. Before that happens, don't underestimate the importance of continuing walking the Bodhisattva path, because that is the nutrients that we get for this particular seed to grow and sprout. When the conditions are right, when that one sentence is here, when that one verse is there, and you heard it, and all the things you've done in the past becomes the nutrients that will fuel you, that will propel you to sprout and have more life and be able to inspire more people. So thank you, Brother Asif, all the things you've done, whether it was the winter distribution, whether it was the soup kitchen, whether it was all these things. That is going to be your that's going to be the resource that you're going to have, okay, for you to be able to sprout when that inspiration comes around. So that goes for everybody. So don't stop, continue, and we'll see each other on Virtual Speak every day, and then we'll see each other next week for the online sharing. So thank you all, and thank you, Brother Steve. I'm not sure if you're going to go back to sleep or not, but whatever it is, we thank you for giving us the energy for the whole day. Thank you.
And Brother Joe and Brother Asif for such a heartfelt and wisdom sharing. Thank you, brothers and sisters, for your presence. Hope that each of us could sustain the Dharma joy and take in another piece of Masters and Hualien love to our life. Let us please make 3 vows to the Buddha and Master as we depart to apply these teachings in our daily life. Let us pay our respects to our teachers of life, universal truth. Palms together. First bow. Second bow. Third bow. Ka'an, everyone. See you all next Saturday. Ka'an. Wonderful sharing today.
Okay, bye-bye. Bye-bye.